Welcome to J Sports, ladies and gentlemen. I have brought the microphone back. But apparently, I messed it up when I was traveling back here to Reno. So, that's my fault. Now, I do want to discuss yesterday's Thanksgiving game with the Dallas Cowboys against the horrible Raiders. But they proved to be better than the Cowboys. Now, this was the Thanksgiving game. Now, before I go into, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe to this channel. And press that post notification bell so you never miss another one of these videos. So here we go. The Dallas Cowboys lose this Thanksgiving game 36-33 to the Raiders and the sucky ass, bullshit, horrific, and awful, terrible NFC officiating crew. Somehow, Dallas rallies late in this game. Dak Prescott himself had 2 game-tying drives in the fourth quarter, and it was almost 3, but it was taken off the board because of, that's right, penalties. You guessed it. Now, first, let's talk about a view of the offense. The ground game was absolutely so bad. 64 yards on the ground. Dak Prescott had a bit of a slow start, really due to a terrible game plan, but he really did great down the stretch. Now, 375 passing yards in this one, but the Cowboys struggled on third down and fourth down. Now, both teams were 3 and 14 on third and fourth downs, so the Raiders also struggled. The difference was that the Raiders had 5 third down pickups, all due to penalty calls on the Cowboys due to the officials. Let's talk about the refs in this game. Now that we're talking, now that I mentioned them, the refs were absolutely garbage, and they were shit last night or yesterday. This is the worst officiated game that I've ever seen in a long time. Not in hockey, not in baseball, and sometimes not even in basketball. In neither of those have I ever seen such awful, horrific, garbage, stupid ass calls by the officials. Now look, in 2019, there was this problem with the NBA. You know, the refs were so bad, even the teams that were winning were like, dude, oh my God, what's going on? Who the F did they pick? It was awful. Look at the 4 different DPI calls on Anthony Brown. They weren't all good calls, and neither were they consistent at all. As much as Mike Fisher says, oh, they were all justified. Fuck you, man. They weren't. You don't know what you're watching. I don't know what game you were watching. I hope you were watching the same one I was, because, boy, you're wrong. They missed many other different DPI calls on both sides, might I add. You know, they didn't call Micah Parsons for holding a couple of times. He definitely had a better grip there. They were awful, especially in the third and fourth quarters. It got a little bit better at the end of the stretch. Now, the Cowboys lost for a variety of different reasons, like a non-existent ground game. Dak was, good, but, he did miss some throws, especially on third down. The ground game was bad. The defense couldn't make tackles at all, even once, barely even. And, there were way too many explosive plays allowed. The yard after catch difference for the Cowboys in just the last 2 weeks and the points they've allowed, it's a massive gap. But nonetheless, the officials are awful. The officials fucked the Cowboys over, and they need to go and just fuck off, themselves. It's just awful. So in the comments, I want you to tell the officials to F off. Their performance was awful. In fact, so awful that they had a total of 28 penalties, 168 yards against the Cowboys. They massively impacted the game. That's not what they're supposed to do. They're not supposed to hand the game to anybody. They're supposed to officiate and call the right calls, and they didn't. They helped out the Raiders. Now let's talk Anthony Brown. You know, he had 4 different DPI penalties against the Raiders, called against him. Outside of this and the Bucks game, he had actually been playing pretty good football. But this bad game has now allowed for more criticism of Anthony Brown, and it could be well deserved. Look, Anthony Brown, not all those calls were justified. 4 DPIs is a lot, honestly. I think only 2 of those calls should have been called on him and might have been justified. Only 2. Let's talk about Dak Prescott. He had a bit of a slow start when the Cowboys were at a 1-to-1 touchdown run ratio. Now, I said that in the beginning. Dak was awesome in this game. He is the reason the team even had a chance in this game. 32 of 47, that is 68% for those of you math geeks. 375, 2 touchdowns, plus 1 taken off the board because of some stupid ass penalty calls by the officials. Now, the fourth quarter by him, look, he did awesome. It was disappointing, though, how the Cowboys' game plan hadn't been to play vertically until the fourth quarter. They did not play vertically until the fourth quarter, and that was a huge mistake. Dak Prescott wasn't perfect. He did miss some throws, especially to Noah Brown and then to Dalton Schultz, but then Dalton Schultz dropped it. But he didn't get bailed out by multiple underthrown balls like Derek Carr did. The Raiders had one of their number 1 players, Darren Waller, go out. I guess he's got a bruised knee or something like that. So for the Raiders, hopefully he's okay. I don't care. Let's go to Ezekiel Elliott. He played less snaps against the Raiders, and it could be, that his knee injury is a little worse than what the Cowboys had said in the first place. They said, oh, he's good. Maybe he's not. His snap count was low. They kept it low. And in this game, Tony Pollard played better than Ezekiel Elliott. But it wasn't that much better of a play by him. 4 catches, 32 yards. Ezekiel Elliott had 6 catches for 24 yards. Not many broken tackles by Zeke, though. He did have a touchdown. It was only, for 1 run. But Pollard only averaged 3.6 yards per carry as well. So there you go. There was a big 31-yard holding call that negated the play, though. But Dallas was 20 carries, 64 yards. There was the 3 yards, where Dak Prescott scrambled. Now, since about the game against the Giants, the Cowboys' ground game hasn't been that good at all. And it was downright bad yesterday. Now, that comes as they were trying their absolute best to run the football against a Raiders run defense. Well, that just wasn't that great. There were too many first down runs, I would say. Now, whoever designed that plan, that game plan, that philosophy, it was awful. I hated it. They didn't decide to play vertically until the fourth quarter. Now, that was a terrible game plan. What Kellen Moore did yesterday was absolutely awful. The short stunts, I just didn't like. You were successful pushing it downfield, even when Dak was pushing it in overtime as far as he could go and driving it down as much as he could go. But then you get it to Zeke. It's awful. They needed to keep pushing it down, being aggressive. That's what they needed to do. They needed to keep pushing it down, being aggressive. That's what works. That's what works for Dallas. They were keeping it too safe. And, maybe it was because they were out 2 receivers. I don't know. Where was it? I don't know. But it wasn't good. Now, the O-line. Let's talk about the O-line. You start Terrence Steele at right tackle. Dak only took 1 sack, which is good. But then there was a play blown up when Tyron Smith and Connor McGovern blocked each other. On the 3rd drive, after they score the touchdown, they then took out Terrence Steele and then take out Connor McGovern, putting in Connor Williams and La'el Collins. There was a 2-yard run, an incomplete pass, a false start, and then another incomplete pass to just end it all. The brief O-line position is stupid. I don't get it. I honestly don't. I don't know what they were going for. Continuity, chemistry, time in one position matters for the offensive line. It matters for them to do well. I don't know why the coaches shuffled it around mid-game. You have 7 starting caliber linemen. Just pick 5. Keep it that way, all game, unless you have to really make a switch. All this moving around and changing it up mid-game, that wasn't good for the O-line. That was awful and terrible for the team. Let's talk the defense. Tristan Hill was impactful. He had 5 tackles, had some splash plays as well. The D-line, they're missing Neville Gallimore, but look, you still had Tristan Hill, and look, he played decent. Micah Parsons, let's talk about him. 5 tackles, 5 quarterback hits, 2 TFLs, a sack, and about 10 non-called holding penalties that were not called on Micah Parsons. He worked Brandon Parker, as was expected, but there's a problem here, and it's that he's the best linebacker on the team, which can be a problem, and I'm not going to say what the problem is. I think you get where I'm going. Chauncey Goldston also had a pretty good game. He splashed early, was a little quiet at the end, 4 tackles, and a QB hit as well. He's coming along for the team. It wasn't a good showing for the defense. They allowed too many yards after the catch. They allowed 509 yards in total offense by the Raiders. It was just awful. Although it might have been a bit of a different game, had 1 or 2 of those DPI calls not been called on Anthony Brown, it might have actually been even more different. And we could have actually had a very, very different game. I don't know what to say other than this was a terrible game by the Cowboys. The officials effed us over, and it just wasn't great. Now, if you like this video, make sure you like, comment, share, and subscribe, and press that post notification bell so you never miss another one of these videos. And I will catch you guys next time.